To borrow the phrase from Douglas Adams' Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, it's an important and popular fact that Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic is a damn fine video game. A damn fine Star Wars video game. I didn't own an Xbox during the original launch in 2003, but when I bought a new PC for my first year of college, I was thrilled to see that it had been ported to desktops not long after. I absolutely loved it. I loved that it took place during an era of Star Wars rarely seen outside of the old Tales from the Jedi comics from Dark Horse. I loved it so much that I named my cat after Jedi Bastila Shan. Developed by BioWare, a studio unknown to me at the time, Knights of the Old Republic succeeded in telling a new, original Star Wars story with the same cinematic and dramatic flair as the original films. Those of us who grew up during the franchise's rejuvenation in the late 90s through the 2000s will remember the big push to get the franchise back into the public consciousness with new books, comics, toys, and video games, all in the lead up to the release of Star Wars Episode I: The Phantom Menace. The early 2000s saw a slew of video game releases that spanned all eras of the Star Wars universe, from the new prequels like Star Wars Republic Commando and Star Wars Bounty Hunter, to the Galactic Empire era, Rogue Squadron 3 Rebel Strike, and beyond, Jedi Knight 2 Jedi Outcast, one of the greatest Star Wars games out there. Crowded though the release window was, it was Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic that gained the most attention. For the first time ever, a Star Wars game would be set thousands of years before the birth of Anakin Skywalker. The Old Republic was a time where the Jedi had flourished, and at the height of their power, which lasted through the end of the New Sith War 3,000 years before the Battle of Yavin. Setting the game in a time frame yet unseen in most mainstream Star Wars reading material gave BioWare the chance to create an all-new Star Wars adventure without compromising the established canon. The story surrounding the creative process of making Knights of the Old Republic is presented in thorough, handsome detail by journalist Alex Kane in his new book titled, well, Knights of the Old Republic. One look at his CV shows that Kane is an experienced freelance writer, having done work for Polygon, Rolling Stone, Variety, Sci-Fi Wire, and now StarWars.com, where he writes articles about old Star Wars games. So as far as I'm concerned, he seems pretty qualified. In the book, he tracks down several people and notables who worked on the game and oversaw its development, from producer Mark Gallo and concept art director John Gallagher to writers Hayden Blackman and Drew Karpyshyn. Through them, we are treated to an engaging and not often seen look into the practice of making a video game, especially one based on one of the most lucrative and powerful franchises in Hollywood. Clocking in at about 128 pages, the book is a great exploration of the project's history and packed with interesting stories about its development, like the moment the studio had to choose between making an RPG for Sony or doing the Star Wars project. Other stories include the battle over HK-47's personality, a really fun tale about how Ed Asner got involved, and the heated decision that turned what was originally intended to be an isometric Baldur's Gate-style RPG into the 3D game we know today. The big takeaway from the book was how surprising and refreshing it was to discover that BioWare had the full support of LucasArts and Lucasfilm on their side. Game updates were frequently met with positive affirmations as well as coaching so that material wouldn't violate any sacrosanct Old Republic material. After all, one does have to preserve the canon. These days, Star Wars is serious business and has always been a sacred cow even before it was taken over by Disney. Given the less than desired output of Star Wars games from its current license holder Electronic Arts, it was startling in a good way to find out that everyone, including the big man George himself, was fully on board with BioWare's vision. Kane's Knights of the Old Republic is filled with fascinating behind-the-scenes anecdotes on the making of one of the most popular Star Wars games of all time. Anyone who has poured hours into the game and joined the collective chorus of gasps at the big reveal is going to want to give this a read. It also serves as a window into the world of game development that you really don't see, and is perfect for those curious to know how the sausage was made. Published by Boss Fight Books, Knights of the Old Republic will be on sale in print and digital release on April 9th. A review copy was supplied to me by the author. And now, if you'll excuse me, I've got another playthrough to start.